Hey, Mr. Brennan here. I want to talk a little bit about statistical averages. In this one, in particular, about mean, because that's what we're using for the hardest math problem. So let's just, I don't have my regular computer here. Let's talk about so I can't write on it, sorry. So let's talk about how many pets people have at home. Let's take some kids. One kid's got two, one kid's got one kid's got zero, another one has one, and another kid has three. So it doesn't matter, we're talking about pets. If I want to find the average, the mean, I'm just going to add all those numbers together. 2 plus 1 is 3, plus 0 is still 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So I have a total of 7, and I'm going to divide that number 7 by the total number of data I had. So in this case, I had 5. So it's going to be 7 divided by 5. 5 Gesundheit. 7. 1 times 5 is 5. I subtract, and I get a 2. So it's important that, just like the numbers you're going to get on your calculator, that we're going to take this instead of saying, well, it's 1 remainder 2, because that's not the question. What's the mean? What's the average number of pets somebody had? So there's no remainders in an average. So I could go 1 and 2/5. That would work sometimes. We know fractions, decimals, and percents are the same thing, but for our purposes, we need our answer to be in decimals. So 7 is the same as 7.0. And that's going to give me something to bring down. So it's going to be 1 and something. I know it's 1 and 2/5, but let's find out as a decimal. So I'm going to bring down, now I'm going to do the whole thing over again. 20 divided by 5 is 4. 4 times 5 is 20. I subtract, and I have nothing, and I don't need to bring anything down because my problem's done. So the average, and sometimes, remember we have that hat that we use for repeating numbers? You'll see that a lot too. The average of the data set that we just had is 1 and 4/10, which should make sense. Remember we had 1 and 2/5, 4/10 and 2/5, the same thing. So what does that have to do with the hardest math problem? So you have the rate of loss, and you have the rate of survival. If I were you, I would make up some easier numbers. Instead of going with those decimals that can be really tricky, I would say, well, rate of loss is 30% and 40% and 30%. And so I know that the rate of loss is 30%, then the rate of survival is going to be 70, right? Because I've got some bees die, some bees don't, but all the bees equal 100. So that's going to be 60 and then 70 again. So to find out what the rate of survival needs to be to have the average rate be anything, I would do a practice problem like this. I think it's going to serve you well to see exactly how the mechanisms work, and then go back to and do the hard problem again. Okay? We'll talk about this more tomorrow. I hope you see this video. I can't understand what happened to the last one. It's just gone. So I hope you have a good day and get some great work done productively struggling.